What is up, guys? It's me, Jacob, your personal rank 1 healer, with you again, and today I'm going to bless you all with one of my most important videos, if not the most important one that I will ever make pertaining to WoW Arena. I promise you, this guide will tell you exactly what you need to know and what the best players know in order to make gameplay on any class or spec as smooth as possible. If you make it through this and use the tips that I'm giving, then you will have the best mechanical foundation for becoming a good player that anyone can have. I did write a script for this video that I'll loosely be following on my other monitor to make sure that I don't leave anything out in case anyone's wondering. Alright, so first and most importantly, I would like to stress that you should find the most comfortable keybinds for targeting yourself and your teammates that you can. Or if you're a DPS, then the enemy team rather than your teammates. So basically what I do is set my target self to 1 on my keyboard, target party member 1 to 2, and target party member 2 to 3. So when you're in a 3v3 situation, you can basically just target yourself and your teammates with 1, 2, and 3, and I will normally have my raid frames right here with descending order, with myself on top as 1, my teammate that's 2 as 2, and my teammate that's 3 is 3 in order. And you can make sure that they're in order every single time by using this add-on called Sort Group, which was turned off just now because they hadn't updated it yet for the new patch, but this is what I'm always using to keep my frames in order. This is not necessarily the only way to do this, but in my experience, this is extremely comfortable. But some players alternatively use their scroll wheel, their function keys, or one of the 4 rows on their 12-button mouses as an alternative option. Okay, so lots of you guys are going to say, well, I already have these binds used for other things. Well, you either need to work around it or toughen up and reconfigure your binds. It'll feel weird at first, but I promise you that muscle memory adapts very quickly over the course of a couple of weeks. And just a side note, if at any point you guys are curious as to the rest of my binds, you can see them on my UI in any of my videos or at my Twitch stream. Secondly, speaking of 12-button mouses, I need to stress that the best way to play WoW PvP or MMO PvP in general is with a 12-button mouse. I personally use the Razer Naga and have been through quite a few over the years. However, Corsair and Logitech have their own versions that plenty of people like as well. There are good players who don't use 12-button mouses, but I think they would still agree with what I'm saying, as most of them are forced into using very strange keybind configurations that took them years of practice to be able to utilize effectively. And these people most likely got used to playing before 12-button mouses were out. They had to come up with something before the Razer Naga and all these other 12 buttons were invented. So they just got used to it before these good mouses came out and just kind of stuck with it for the most part, not for everybody. Now that the simple philosophy for keybinds is established, I want to challenge you to the following. Make it feel like your character is an extension of your own body. This means have as many macros for interrupts, CC, and purges as you can. Notice that all of these are offensive abilities. A big reason for this is that you'll have tons of trouble in high pressure situations healing your team, while also, for example, wind shearing a cyclone or shadow or deathing a polymorph. Having focus macros, or even better, Arena 1, 2, 3 macros enable a smooth process of being able to use important utility spells without having to swap targets. So pay attention here. We just hexed the Paladin. We use Shift Naga button 2, Shift mouse button 2. We are going to go ahead and do some damage here. Notice that the Paladin has his Aura Mastery available. And what I'm about to do is I'm going to purge it off and I'm going to wind shear him. And I'm going to do this with my 1, 2, 3 macros. So watch this. You can see my globals right here. I see his Aura Mastery. I purged it. I used, or it's also called Divine Favor if you're wondering what I mean by Aura Mastery. It's basically the spell that makes it to where he can cast without getting kicked. So I purged it off of him with my Purge 1 macro, Purge Arena 1 macro. I don't have to change my targets or anything. You can also use a focus macro for this, but you'll see later why I prefer 1, 2, 3 macros. So either way, I'm going to use my Purge 1 macro to purge off his Divine Favor, And then I'm going to use my Wind Shear 1 macro right there to be able to kick him, to kick the enemy Paladin, and the warrior is going to go down without being able to get healed. So notice that if he got that cast off, the game could have most definitely been prolonged. It could have kept going. He would have got that cast off. But because I have these very quick to use binds to be able to do things like purge Arena Enemy 1 into a kick, it just makes it much easier. So also in a threes game, imagine there's 3 people instead of just 2. You could do this to all 3 people. There's different things. Kick 1, 2, 3, purge 1, 2, 3, hex 1, 2, 3. I want to be able to FlameShock people easily with 1, 2, 3, and I'll talk about this later even more. I will link the focus and arena 1, 2, 3 macros and any other macros that I talk about in the description under the video. And at this time, I would also like to give a quick friendly reminder to please sub to the channel, like the video, and hopefully comment at the end if you still have any questions, or just let me know if I'm providing value to you guys, which I am very much aiming to do. Okay, so now onto basic keybind strategy, which I'm sure lots of you already understand intuitively. You basically want your most used abilities to be easily reachable while also making important large cooldown abilities slightly less reachable, but still easy to press. This is because you don't want any easy button like D or mouse button 1 or keyboard button 1 to be taken up by an ability that you might press only 2 to 3 times per game maximum. So as you can see, things like regrowth, rejuve, life bloom, they're in easily reachable places. For example, rejuve and life bloom are on the front row of my Razer Naga, my 12 button mouse. It's 1 and 3 on the Naga. And then I also have regrowth on D. I have swift mend on A. These are buttons that I will press all the time and need to be able to get to them quite easily. So they are right around my movement keys and they are towards the front of my 12 button mouse. For example, my defensive binds are generally X, G, mouse button 12, shift mouse button 8, and some other exceptions. I can press them all easily enough in a high pressure situation, but they are not in position for spammable abilities like Riptide, Rejuvenation, Holy Shock, or Shadow Mend. I generally keep these spammable types of abilities in easy reach of my movement keys, which my fingers naturally rest on, so Q, W, and E for me, or on the front 2 rows of my 12 button mouse, as I said before. I will put the less spammable abilities farther back on my 12 button mouse or a bit farther from my movement keys. Like I said, X, G, mouse button 12. On this character, it happens to be Bone Dust Brew, but on my Shaman, it happens to be Wall, or basically my Fortifying Brew on my Shaman is on this. So these aren't directly around my movement keys. I'm not going to be spamming X a lot. I press it with my thumb. G isn't the hardest button to press, but it's also not super spammable next to my movement keys, so that's where my wall is. Shift Naga button 8 or mouse button 8 is not something spammable, but you know, it's a 1.5 minute cooldown. I don't need to press it all the time, but it's easy enough to press if I need to press it. So that's the general philosophy for cooldown buttons, in my opinion. Just like the offensive cooldown buttons, they're easy to press, but not in super spammable spots. Alright, so speaking of movement keys, I would highly recommend not using more than 3. Some people use Q, W, E, A, S, and D, while many good players will understand that only 3 of these 6 are necessary. If you eliminate 3 of them, you give yourself 3 more extremely easy binds to use for spammable abilities. In PvP, you do not need to use S for backpedaling or A or D for keyboard turning, and you'll even be made fun of by lots of people for using them as they make you move slower. So I personally use Q for strafe left, W for move forward, and E for strafe right. You might be wondering, how do I turn? Well, now that you have binds for moving or for targeting your teammates and macros for using utility on the enemy, you don't have to click very many things during your games anymore. So you simply hold right click for most of the game while dragging your mouse around to turn. This is the optimal way to navigate your character around the arena. You will also come to notice that your game awareness will be much higher as your eyes aren't subconsciously forced to aim your mouse at your targets. You can now use them to pay attention to much more important things. So real quick, I'm just going to show you a clip from one of my hunter videos from way back then. I'm super undergeared on my hunter just to illustrate the movement keys in this video, but I'm just using really good mobility to be able to kite higher geared players and outplay them. So I'm just going to roll that real quick. Alright, so here, as you can see, I'm going to still be able to get full movement out of my QWE while holding right click on my mouse to turn the screen. I'm just going to be strafing around pillars quite easily, full control of my character, just trying to keep max range. This rogue's about to probably shadow step me. Just going to go ahead and stun him up instantly right there before he kidneys me, knock him away. I'm still able to move away from him. I'm able to do all the movement that I need to do with this QWE and this right click. And also a lot of you guys might prefer A and D over Q and E. That's totally fine. You can use Q and E as keybinds for other abilities and just use A and D to strafe. I think there's a couple other ways to only use 3 movement keys, but I just want to stress that you only want to use 3 movement keys, or else you're just giving up extra buttons that you could be using for spammable abilities. So for instance, I have QWE to move, and I can A, S, and D once again as keybinds for damage or purges or whatever I want to use them for. For those of you who are actually willing to become proficient players, I'll show you my personal system for my utility macro keybinds. Once you get these set up on one class, you will find it extremely easy to transfer to whatever specialization you find yourself wanting to play. Keep in mind, you do not need to copy my binds, but you do need to figure something out similar to what I'm about to show you. Alright, so I'll use a few of my different tunes to show you how I use the same utility macro keybinds seamlessly across all of them. First, let's take a look at the Resto Shaman, who has tons of utility. As you can see, I have Hex 1, 2, 3, Wind Shear 1, 2, 3, Purge 1, 2, 3, and I also even have FlameShock 1, 2, 3. And these FlameShocks also target the enemy that I'm FlameShocking, so that way I can Lava Burst right after I FlameShock if I want to. So this eliminates almost all clicking whenever it comes to targeting the enemy team. I use the first row of my 12-button mouse for almost all of these. So control mouse button 1 through 3 is for the wind shearing. You guys can see it right here as I call it out loud. Shift mouse button 1 through 3 is for Hex. Alt 1 through 3 is for FlameShock. And this one's a little bit weirder, but I found it extremely comfortable for an extra set of 1 through 3 macros. And basically what it is Control R, Control F, and Control D. If you look at your keyboard, R, F, and D are in a triangle right next to each other. So let's say I want to purge enemy 1, I'll press Control R, purge enemy 2, Control F, purge enemy 3, Control D. They're in an easy little triangle right there. This is just my own thing that I came up with a long time ago. And so basically across all of my characters, you'll see that my Shift 1 through 3, Alt 1 through 3, Control 1 through 3, and then the Control R, F, D. I can use these as 1, 2, 3 macros on all of my characters. I have up to 4 ways of doing this. And I could probably come up with more if I wanted to, but I don't think I really need much more. So yeah. So in the past, I only used focus macros for kicks and crowd control. But over time, I found that I had full control over my character without having to swap focuses constantly once transferring to more 1, 2, 3 macros. My characters at this point truly feel like extensions of my own body. And disclaimer just ahead of time, lots of players more successful than me, people who have competed in tournaments and stuff, rely heavily on focus macros. A lot of them use 1, 2, 3 macros like me, but just keep in mind that they have become extremely good at swapping focus over many years of practice and would probably agree with me that they're not playing optimally. A good example of why focus macros fall short is when a stealth character is setting up an opener on your team. While with Arena 123 macros, you can be spamming a CC on the stealth unit so you can instantly interrupt their setup. And I'll show you an example of why this is important right here. Okay, so what you're about to see is a clip from my stream yesterday. I was just messing around with my Rep Paladin, trying to get a cap, playing with my other Rep Paladin buddy, and we're going against the infamous Rogue Mage combo in 2s. And so basically what's going to happen versus this comp in 2s and 3s, pretty much every game, is the sub-rogue is going to open up with cheap shot on one of us, and then the mage will polymorph off of that. Meanwhile, the rogue will full kidney the other target, and he'll do this really quickly, leaving a tiny gap of outplay potential for you to do anything. So imagine that you don't have 1, 2, 3 macros in this situation. What I'm going to be doing is spamming Hodge on this rogue so that as soon as he comes out of stealth, boom, he's hodged. What they were about to do is they were going to cheap shot my teammate, just like I said, polymorph him off like he's doing now, and then they were going to mark for death onto me, which gives the rogue full combo points to be able to kidney shot me. And then they were going to have both of us in crowd control and pump big damage into us. But because I have this Hodge 1, 2, 3 macro, I don't have to spend any time whatsoever to target the rogue, to set up a focus on the rogue, to do anything. I just press Hodge 2, and he is instantly hodged as soon as he comes out of stealth. He has no time to cheap shot and then kidney me. He's already hodged. And then I'm expecting this opener, so as soon as he trinkets the Hodge, I press blind on him, and now they don't get a setup at all. I'm basically able to just do whatever I want, just start going on the mage, get my shield off before I get stunned. They're combusting, they're doing a bad go. Whereas if I didn't have these 1, 2, 3 macros, the odds are that he would have just gotten a fat go on us, and the opener popped combust. I would have been in a kidney shot, and I wouldn't have ruined their opener and forced ice block. And just real quick, I'll follow up by showing you how I seamlessly can transfer these Arena 1, 2, 3 macros across any of my characters with a few examples. But just so you guys know, once you get this set up on one character, you can have it forever on everything, and it'll feel seamless as you transfer from one character to another. For example, I'll show you Holy Priest right here. Alright, so as you can see, my Paladin had the same stun macros in the clip that I showed you a second ago. Hodge 1, 2, 3 was on alt 1, 2, 3, and it's the same here. Chastise 1, 2, 3 are the same keybinds. So my stun on both characters is the same button. Feels perfect whenever you switch over. It doesn't feel weird at all. And on my Resto Druid, Cyclone 1, 2, 3 is control 1 through 3, but on my Priest, it's mind control 1, 2, 3. It's the same type of cast, ranged, spammable CC. It feels exactly the same. And then on top of that, I'm going to show you a little bonus thing, is that I also have Shadow Word Death 1 through 3 on this character, which is my shift mouse button 4, 5, and 6. On my Druid, that would be Bash 1, 2, and 3 would be on my shift 4, 5, and 6. And I'll link these macros down below, but this one's a little different. So for example, these will Shadow Word Death 1, 2, 3. So that way, if I'm getting polymorphed on my Priest, or hexed or something, or feared, then I don't have to target any of my enemies. I can just instantly Shadow Word Death whichever person I want to break the CC on me seamlessly without having to spaz out and change targets really fast or something of that nature. So Windwalker is going to be a little bit different. I mean, it has the same binds. So my grapple weapon, for instance, my disarm 1 through 3 is on the shift mouse button 4 through 6, just like I showed a second ago. My kick 1, 2, 3 is going to be on control mouse button 1 through 3, just like my shaman's kicks. My paralysis 1 through 3 is going to be on the alt 1 through 3, since I don't have a stun on this character. that is targeted. My only stun is leg sweep, which is an AoE, so I only need one button for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my paralysis on these alt 1 through 3. And then something that I do on characters, mostly DPS characters, that have a slow. I don't have a purge on this character. So the Control R, Control F, Control D that I showed you earlier for purging on my Shaman, it's also the same thing I use to purge on my Priest. But on this character, I don't have any purges, but I do have Hamstring, or Disable rather. It's a slow ability. On my Hunter, this would be Concussive Shot, but as you can see, I just use it to be able to slow 1, 2, 3 without having to switch targets. I can just easily, if someone's next to me, if let's say I'm targeting Arena Enemy 1, but I want to slow his teammate who comes by me really quickly without having to change targets, I just press, Control F or Control D, which would slow the other person that's walking next to me without having to change targets. Additionally, some of you guys might also question, how do I use 1, 2, 3 on my keyboard for targeting if I'm also using 1 through 12 on my mouse for other keybinds? Well, the simple answer to this is with a 12 button mouse comes a nice configuration program. So for the Razer Naga, this program is called Razer Synapse. So this is that little program right here. Basically what you're going to do is, to solve this issue, is for me, I change all except for one of these binds on the side of my mouse to the function keys. So that way I still have access to the 1, 2, 3 on my keyboard. So basically all of the side buttons on my Naga are set to the function keys, F1 through F10. The only one I don't have is 4 set to F4 because originally when I set this up, I had noticed very quickly that I could accidentally Alt F4 out of whatever game I was playing. So this became annoying very quickly. So we just leave this at 4. You don't want to set it to F4 because you're going to be leaving all of your games on accident. So don't do that. And then 11 and 12 are automatically set to the minus and equals on your keyboard. As you can see, they're after the 0, so they're just going to default to that. At least for the Razer Naga, that's what it does. So I just left it as it is. And another question might be, how do I focus targets? So the answer is that you can right-click your enemy's Gladius health bar, which is an add-on that pretty much everybody uses for Arena. You just right-click their health bar. It's going to be on the right side of the screen for most people right there. I also have keybinds set to be able to focus whoever I want. These keybinds are just shift keyboard 1 through 3 as opposed to just regular 1, 2, 3, which targets myself and my teammates if I'm healing, but the 1, 2, 3 targets my enemies if I'm DPSing. So normally if I'm a healer, then it'll be set to 1, 2, and 3 right here. But if I'm doing DPS, then it's going to be to target arena enemy 1, 2, and 3 to be able to switch between the enemy players seamlessly while I'm doing damage and jumping around. And then to focus the enemy 1, 2, 3 is going to be shift 1, 2, 3. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below or just come ask me personally while I'm streaming my arena games live on Twitch at the link in the description. You can also join the community Discord with any other link down below, which will give you a little notification whenever I go live. Alternatively, if you're interested in coaching, once again, I'll urge you to give a quick look at the description. There will be something below for that. So either way, I really hope that this provided value to you guys. That's what I'm trying to do once again. Again, please like the video if you like the video, sub to the channel so you get notifications for new videos, and definitely come hang out in the Twitch stream where I play my games live, like I said before. And you can ask me any questions you want there, or you could just hang out, and maybe you can answer some of my questions. But either way, I hope you guys have a really good day or night wherever y'all are in the world. Take it easy, and peace.